What's good, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of THRL, where I get to talk to people, mainly about themselves, but always with the goal of gaining and sharing new perspectives. This is the first video recorded episode I've done, and it was a bitch to edit, so I hope those that are watching enjoy the visuals. In today's episode, I sit down with an old college teammate of mine, Mr. Andrew McCrumb, aka Coach Crumb. Back in the day, I knew Crumb as a dangly D-mid that knew how to have a good time on and off the playing field. But little did I know, he also utilized his collegiate days to further pursue his passion for fitness. During our chat, I learned that health and fitness had always been a passion of his since a young age and has only continued to grow as he's taken on the challenges that life has thrown his way. So, without further delay, join us as two old teammates catch up in McCrumb's self-built home gym. How long did it take you to build this? Or what was the piecing together? This
Man, this was shitty when I first bought it. But this was like a prerequisite of mine. Like I knew I wanted to build this.
Yeah.
So like any house we were looking at, I knew I wanted a yard for the dog and a garage for a gym. So it was shitty, man. It was nasty in here. There was like these like weird lockers. The floor was all fucked up. There was like this massive thing from the ceiling that was like an old school garage opener.
Oh shit.
So I just basically spent like a couple weeks just like cleaning it up, painted it, and then just got the flooring in, and it was off to the races. It wasn't too hard after that.
Started piecing things together.
Yeah, slowly but surely getting all this equipment.
Yeah, you got a nice, diverse set here. And I know you keep your workouts pretty diverse.
Yeah.
So is it just, some of it looks a little homemade? I don't know if that's Home Depot.
Yeah, little homemade
Heck
PVC
yeah.
joints. Little parallettes, I think they're called. Some gymnastics type shit.
Yeah, a lot of calisthenics. Can you do the handstands and everything yet?
I'd still work on the handstands.
I've been slowly
I'm getting there.
doing like the step ups to it. It's like, all right, you want to do the pike push ups first and then put the foot on the wall.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do like a plank push up for years. I cannot get that shit.
It's hard,
like that.
dude.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
It's just all of that shit's humbling.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like that body weight stuff.
Yeah.
Do you train people out of here?
I have, yeah, usually. Yeah.
How's that stuff going now?
No clients right now.
None?
Which is good.
Yeah.
Like it always ebbs and flows. But right now I'm not like actively seeking any clients. Like just chilling,
Nice.
enjoying my time, training myself and hanging out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get majority of your clients, like when you were pursuing them and stuff?
Majority of my clients really came from probably that connection of coaching for Coopers.
Oh,
My
word.
brother, yeah. We coached the same team I was with the same group of kids for I think 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So I just wound up training a lot of them, just talking to their parents and stuff.
Heck yeah, just
And then,
networking.
Yeah. Then I'd put some stuff up on Nextdoor, that website, Nextdoor. It's like for different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So I put some flyers up on there and get a few people from like around the neighborhood that would come over. So
That's sick.
started getting in through that, and then definitely a couple neighbors who just kind of walk by and see the door open and I'm out here working out. They'll come in and ask some questions, and so I've trained a lot of people in the neighborhood too, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you get how was the virtual scene? I know that's pretty big nowadays. And I talked to Kev Kane at like our last reunion or something. He said he was hooking up with you for a bit.
Yeah,
he was pretty hype on some like weight loss and like getting back in shape and everything.
I forgot that. Yeah, him. I made a few programs for him.
Okay.
I don't think we ever did anything online, but when COVID first hit, yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff just like
Nice.
over Zoom, which was wild. That was like a big turning point in like my whole training, really.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. How so?
Man, like went from training in a gym for 15 plus years with all the equipment at your disposal to through a screen and no equipment at all. It was just like such a catalyst of like, shit, like what the hell do I do now? Like, so that really like led me into taking yoga classes, doing Pilates, like digging deep into floor
okay.
work. That way I could like figure out like a way to get a good workout in for an hour without any type of equipment at all.
Nice. So it was kind of like a reset for you, or just like a dive into a different realm of fitness for you?
I think it was both. I
Okay.
think it was like, because up until that point, I was already kind of searching for a new way to train.
Okay.
I fucked up my shoulder in like 2018. Doing like I was doing seated dumbbell shoulder press, and just going way too heavy, and I like was trying to lock out my last rep, and like this right couldn't lock out, and I was like not about to let this thing drop and cause a big scene at this gym.
Yeah.
So I fought it the whole way down, and like it fell away from my body, and I just heard like all this nasty shit going on in my shoulder, and fucked me up, man. I couldn't lift. I couldn't even move my shoulder for like 8 months.
8 months?
Yeah, dude. I was like, all I could do was like go for walks. It was
Shit.
It was brutal. I never went and got it checked out. Just being.
Wait.
Yeah.
You just sucked it up for 8 months. You're just like, yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shit, so you never got like a full diagnosis or anything?
No.
To this day?
To this day.
You got nothing?
Nothing.
That is wild.
Yeah, I don't know what spurred that as to why I like was refused to go get it checked out. I guess I just figured like they're going to tell me to rest or tell me I need surgery, and I was like, I don't really feel like getting surgery, so I just like rested for like 8 months, and like that's when I like took a step back. I was like, man, like I don't need to be lifting this heavy anymore. Like, why am I even lifting this heavy? I'm 28. I don't play any sports. Like, there's no need for this anymore. And like,
facts.
Made me like realize how much of like ego driven it was. And I just like took a step back. I was like, I don't give a shit about how much I could lift anymore. Like, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
But then like after that 8 months, and like I finally started feeling better. I got back to the gym, probably like late 2019. And like I wanted to train differently, but like I didn't know any different. So like I found myself like doing the same kind of shit. And then COVID happened and all the gyms shut down, and I started going over the screen. So it was like I was already trying to reset myself.
Yeah.
And then that COVID was kind of like the catalyst of like, all right, well, just kind of threw me into it. And
Yeah, you're forced into it. It's
Exactly.
like I don't really have another option.
yeah. So then
But I mean, it seems like it was kind of for the better. You kind of like the way you train. You seem pretty injury free now. Does it still bother you?
now it's all good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely injury free now. Definitely never felt better.
Gotcha.
Definitely felt, yeah, it was all necessary for sure.
Gotcha. So you were training, like employed at a gym, training people, clients, employed by them for a while. And then, so would you say Coach Crumb or started then, like in that 2020 when you took that step back? Did you immediately transition, or did you have the title Coach Crumb? Or?
I had the title Coach Crumb for a while.
Okay.
I mean, I was studying for my personal training certification when I was at Stevenson.
Oh, were you?
Kind of like on the side, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I never wound up taking the test while I was at school.
All right.
But when I got out and started working my first job, that was like another catalyst. Like, all right, I hate this job, so let me get my certification. So I think it started then. I think it started like 2014 maybe, like kind of after college. Graduated in 2012, and I think I got my certification in 2013. So I started kind of building that Coach Crumb brand at that point. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's when it all started. But
Okay.
back then it was very much the bodybuilding type style of workouts. And
Nice. So through everything you've been through, and I definitely want to jump back and hear more about it, but like what would you give if you had to throw it on a business card? Like what would you put as your official professional title for Coach Crumb?
for Coach
And
Crumb,
then do you have like any specific like attention, like I train athletes or I train this way? Because I hear so much as I continue to dive into it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm a speed specialist. I do this, or I
Yeah.
specifically train athletes, or I'm a functional, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, would you give yourself that title, or you're just like, I'm just a trainer, man?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just a trainer. Yeah,
I dig that though. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I have a specific person that I aim for.
Okay.
I think I'm just a trainer that's willing to spread the knowledge that I've amassed to anyone who needs it.
I love that though.
Yeah,
Just kind of a trainer for the people.
that's right.
Because I do see a lot of people like, hey, I only do athletes.
Right.
You still, what was the one gym, the Top Athlete? Didn't you know?
Yeah,
or
my buddy
something like that?
Brandon
Yeah,
started
yeah.
Top Athlete.
Were you working there a bit? I seen you used to train like BL boys
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I was working with BL for a little bit. He's got the Boys Latin contract, so they all come to his gym.
Nice.
Him and I were both working with Jay Dyer at the time, so that's kind of how I knew him.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so he's got
That's a big name. I mean,
Yeah.
at least for the lax community. I feel like
sure.
most people know that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
How long did you work with him?
I think started in 2016, and that whole connection started with that Cooper's gig, coaching Cooper's.
Yeah, Ronnie. Dude knows people.
Yeah, exactly, Ronnie,
Yeah.
and he was like really close with Jay, so he kind of got me in contact with him and got me that internship, and
Nice.
I worked there from 2016 to about where COVID hit. So
Heck yeah.
yeah.
So did you know you always wanted to do something like this? Like, because you said you were
so.
studying for it at Stevie, which I didn't know. And
Yeah.
then when I hit you up years back, I think it was during COVID, because I kind of went through that same jam of like, more so a reality check. I hadn't been lifting, and then I'm sitting at home. I was like, yo, you're fat. Like, I used to be an athlete. Like, I got to do something about this. And then I was like, all right, let's get back in the groove of it.
Yeah.
But was it something you always known? Because you played sports, you hockey, lax. I don't know if you played other stuff. But
Yeah.
Was it always like, I want to train people? I know I want to be in fitness in some way.
Yeah, I think that started pretty early. My parents had a gym in our house growing up in the basement.
Oh, sweet.
And it's probably like 7th or 8th grade. I started really going down there and kind of messing around, and I definitely fell in love with it early on. Like I was just amazed at the idea that like you could change your body and you could work to achieve something, and I fell in love with it immediately. And I remember I was just talking to my parents about this. I remember I got my parents to give me subscriptions to Muscle and Fitness magazine and Flex magazine, and Flex magazine was like the legit like pro bodybuilding coverage of like the pro bodybuilding circuit. So like the covers would be like the most jacked up steroid guys ever, and like I'd have like mounds of these in my basement. Like my parents probably thought I was gonna be a juice head for sure, but those were like my Bibles, man. I like from like 8th grade through high school, like I would just like devour those things, and that was like definitely my basis of, you know, what I knew to be training, like just following those like three sets of 10 to 12 reps type deal, and but yeah, I loved it, man, and all through playing sports, I always loved the off season just as much as the regular season because I just loved training.
Nice.
So I always knew that I was going to kind of, you know, parlay into probably being a trainer.
Nice.
And then once I got to college, I started studying for the certified personal trainer. So yeah, it was something early on I knew I loved and knew I'd probably be into it for life.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Did you start training people back then at all? Like, were you the guy on the team who's like, yo, Crumb knows what he's doing. Like, give me a workout, or did you like reach out to coaches or strength and conditioning and it's like, yo, I'm trying to learn more about this? Or were you kind of just like in your own lane, just doing your shit?
Early on in my own lane.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it took me a while, a little bit after college. Once I got that certification, then I kind of started to ask around. But like, we didn't have anything like that at Stevenson's. Like, we didn't have like a strength. When I was there, we didn't have like any strength coaches or like workouts or anything like that. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so like, I wish we had, because then I would have started picking their brain a little bit earlier on.
It was like MC. That's pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, we had a few of us, like Brooks and your brother. We'd all kind of work out together. And
oh, Kyle got in it?
Oh yeah.
Did
he? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's what's up.
Yeah. So, but no, mostly it was in my own lane until about probably a year or two after college.
Nice. That's why I kind of love hearing about your transition and like all that you've been through, going from like the big, I don't need to train like this anymore. Yeah. Because I still deal with that ego lift a bit. Like, you always look and it's like, I want to be bigger.
That ego thing's big, man.
It is. It's a struggle. And I think I kind of love that about training, though, is that helping people get out of that as well. Mm-hmm. Of like, yo, it doesn't have to be the heaviest or like your form shit, so let's work on that first and things like that. But it's definitely a battle or a journey, as I always call it.
It is. I remember right before I injured myself on that shoulder press, I was trying to front squat 315. Like, that was my goal, and I'd be working to it. And I finally did it, and it was a fucking brutal rep, dude. I just did one rep, and I did it, and like I remember re-racking it, and like the first thought in my mind was like, I wasn't pumped. I wasn't like, fuck yeah, I got it. My mind was like, all right, I don't ever want to go any heavier than that, because like my body was like so shot after that one rep. Damn. And I was like, I don't ever want to go heavier than that. I have no intention to ever do that again. And I was like, now was like the first time where I was like, had to like look at that perspective and be like, all right, man, like I think I've reached the top here. Like there's no more climbing. Like I don't want to do this shit anymore. Yeah. So yeah, the ego thing is tough, because it was definitely, when I was going to those commercial gyms back in the day, like I was trying to make sure that everyone knew I was the baddest motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, I feel that. Yeah. Do you think like your athletic career played a part in that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, but at the same time, I wish I trained the way I do now back then, because right now I'm 100% a better athlete than I was at Stevenson. Right. Which is crazy. Yeah. I mean, I was playing back then at 197. I think was my playing weight. I'm like 182. I move so much better now. I'm way faster and way quicker. And I like always look back and like, fuck, man, I wish I was doing what I'm doing now.
Groundhog Day would have been crazy.
Would have been crazy. But like, yeah, all I did back then was like the bodybuilding stuff because that's all I knew.
Yeah. So what was that transition like once you got through that? Would you say 8 months?
After
of
that,
the shoulder?
the shoulder?
Yeah. What did you start with to like really get back into it? What was that first step? You mentioned Pilates, doing yoga, things like that.
Yeah, that was when COVID hit, and that really forced me into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I went to the gym. I went back to the gym, the same gym that I'd been working at, and where I injured myself, and I knew I wanted to. So like I knew I was done with like the split of like leg day, Monday, Tuesday, chest, like Wednesday. I was over that. After that 8 months off, I like realized like I kind of developed a new philosophy, and you know, I forget who told me it, but I read somewhere, saw somewhere about like nothing in the body happens in isolation. Like everything is synergistic. It's a synergistic system.
Gotcha.
And I was like, for whatever reason, I was like a light bulb, and I was like, well, then why am I training in isolation? Why am I going in and just training my legs if everything works synergistically?
Yeah.
So that kind of threw all that out of the window, and I didn't go back doing those isolating days. But I still found myself doing like the same kind of moves. Like I would be doing full body days, but I'd still be doing squats. I'd still be doing bench. Yeah. Because I just didn't know any better. But then, yeah, once COVID hit, then that transition was, okay, I need to find a new way. Started taking yoga, started seeing how good my body felt after doing yoga, which I'd never really given it the time of day before. So I'd get out of these yoga sessions and be like, holy shit, man, I feel good. Like, right? What is this? Like, this is crazy. Because back in the day, I'd like, yoga, that's not a workout. Like, I'm not like building muscle. That's not a workout. Why would I do that? Yeah. Why would I spend my time on that? And then like doing Pilates and like just realizing how far you can get just like being on the floor with your own body weight. And just started going into like a deep rabbit hole of all these like mobility guys on Instagram, and like, yeah. And then before you know it, you know, halfway through 2020, I like had this whole new way of training and never really looked back.
Nice. So it's just like, you say 6 months of just like hitting it hard.
Yeah,
you said just fell into that rabbit hole. Yeah. And I feel you on that yoga thing. I remember first class I ever took was hot yoga. And I forget, she got me, she pulled me into going, like didn't tell me it was hot yoga or nothing like that. So I pulled up in like Stevie sweats. And as soon as I got there, she's like, yeah, take everything off. And I was like, all right. But as much of a struggle as it was, like incorporating and working muscles in a way I've never done before, I've never sweat so much in my life, and I walked out just like feeling cleaner than ever. I was like, I need to do this again. Yeah. And I've been debating like getting certified or getting like becoming a registered yoga teacher like down the line, which I think would be pretty sick. Cool. But I love that exploration. Like you just kind of dove down. It's like I got to change something, hit it hard for 6 months, and you're just like, all right. And start building the new me.
And that was a huge practice going back to that ego thing too, because like go to those yoga classes and I'm like, I think I'm a bad dude. I think I'm like this big strong guy, and then like you try to do a yoga pose and you're like humbled quickly. Yeah. And it's like you could easily be like, fuck that, it's not for me. Or it's like, all right, I can give myself some patience and be a beginner here and leave my ego at the door and you know, just push through that until you know get good at it. So,
accepting a new challenge, essentially.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. So that played a big part. So yeah, from then on, I think I went maybe a year and a half without even touching any type of weight. It was just all yoga. Wow. It was all body weight stuff. It was all floor work. And then I started to incorporate more stuff. Now I got the mace and the kettlebells, and love doing the kettlebells. So I've started to get back into like heavier stuff with those things. But nice. Yeah, man, I spent like a year getting down and just getting really into the mobility stuff, and my body is, you know, thankful for that for sure.
Understanding the body a bit more as well, I feel like, because I remember you were like the first time I'd heard about like mouth taping and breathing a couple years ago. You had mentioned some book that you read. Yeah. And I think you put up a video one time. You were on like a speed bike or something. Yeah. Mouth taped, and I was like, "What is this dude doing?" I was like, "I feel like you're supposed to breathe through your mouth." And then lo and behold, I feel like a lot of it's coming to light now. Yeah. All I see on Instagram is like mouth tape this, and here's your nasal strip, and I was like,
I've been there, done
Crumb was right. I was like, my man did this like 3 years ago. I was like.
I've always been like that. I've always been like a nerd in that way of like, if I'm into something, I'm like, I'm gonna spend some time researching it. And I was on that dude Ben Greenfield. I was in his podcast like for a long time. Nice. Back in the day, it's got like biohacking type stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know when that really started, but like I've always been super into health and fitness, and not just the weightlifting stuff, not just like the physical part, but like taking care of your body through nutrition and other ways to go about it. So I've always been deep into that kind of like research and
I'd say
podcasts
so,
and
with the
books and
stack of
stuff.
magazines you said you
Yeah,
had.
man, I've always been like that.
I mean, as much as that motivating dude on the cover probably was, I
Right.
imagine you got into a couple of the articles like, oh, so this is how that works.
Right,
This is
exactly.
what I need to do.
Hell yeah.
And it's just kind of evolved over the years. I love that because it's always clearly been a passion, but through that and your journey of wherever this ends up, and I definitely want to hear more of like where you want to take it. You've been willing to take those punches. You're just like, I'm always going to love doing this. And like, yeah, if I got to find a new way to do it, that's great. I love that. And you seem to be enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
But you're like, I'm not going to let anything stop me from like getting better. Like you said,
Yeah.
you went through that bodybuilding phase and you're just like, yeah, I was strong as fuck. You're at 190. Like that's meatball to me. Like I was the same thing in college. I hit 180 at one point. And I was like, for 5'7", that's not bad. I was like, I'll take that. But then, all right, I'm hurt. One, to just sit out for 8 months because I can't imagine that outside of like having to get surgery.
Yeah, it was
And then
tough.
just reality checks like, all right, I got to change something. And like
Yeah.
still having fun with it seems.
Yeah,
Which is dope.
I needed that because I don't think I was having fun. Like, leading up to that injury, I don't think I was having fun. I think it was like, I mean, I've been training that same way for like 15 years. From
Yeah.
Starting in 7th grade, it was, Monday legs, Tuesday, and it just got stale, man. And like, I was sick of like being sore all the time. I felt like my legs were always sore. Like,
Yeah.
I would do legs on Monday and the shit would be sore till Saturday.
Yeah, it's the
I
worst.
remember like dropping a pen in the office and like, like feeling terrible, like not even be able to pick it up. And, like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is like not. At some point, this isn't healthy, and this isn't like what my goals are ultimately. You know what I mean?
Nice. How do you approach like the nutrition and I guess wellness side of things, I would say, which I feel like all of it ties into, but the monstrosity we have here of the sauna, which is sick. I'm super jealous. Is this infrared too?
Infrared, yeah.
That's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we can see the tub.
Yeah, the cold
But
plunge.
like, when did recovery and everything, or was it always a big focus? Because I feel like maybe not with the injuries and the way you were feeling.
Yeah.
How did like the recovery and the nutrition tie
think-
into the whole transition or the new Crumb or
Yeah,
evolved
yeah.
Crumb?
So nutrition, up until when I was doing the old school bodybuilding stuff, nutrition was protein, eating every 2 hours, just like, eating way too much. And once around when I got injured, when I got injured and I had that 8 months off from training, I think that's when I really dove more into the nutrition side. And obviously I was like, all right, I don't need to be eating all this food now that I'm not training the way I used to. So that's when I really got into fasting, which was huge. That was kind of like my first foray into like the not so well-known type of tactics.
Yeah.
So I got into fasting really, really hard then, doing up like 3 days of 72-hour fasts.
Damn. That's getting a lot of attention nowadays too.
Yeah. So that's got huge benefits from just like longevity's sake, cancer and prevention and all that kind of stuff. So
I've been trying to learn more about it. Like
Yeah.
I want to do a fast. Like I've been hearing extremes of like 5 to 7 days, and I was like, I don't know if I can safely do that without being like monitored. So
yeah.
let's stick with like a day or something like that.
Something
Like
like
that. 'Cause
that.
I got
Yeah.
bad like genes and all, with all that shit.
Family history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. You don't need to go crazy with the 5 days. It's
Yeah, it seems extreme.
Yeah, it is extreme. So what you're looking for is like it's called autophagy. That's the process that your body goes into. That usually happens after like 16 hours. So autophagy starts to kick in. That's when your body starts to get rid of all your junk cells, all the stuff that's kind of junked up in your system that could, if they don't get cleared, could eventually clump up and cause cancer and cause that
Gotcha.
kind of stuff. So that's when it starts to kind of clear those things out of your body at like 16 hours. So I think I was doing for a while there 24-hour fast a week. So I would like
Damn.
eat Sunday dinner and then I wouldn't eat again until Monday dinner.
Wow.
Which isn't too bad. It sounds daunting. I remember when I first started getting into it, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be hard. Like, because I'm
Yeah.
used to eating every 2 hours in that bodybuilding type style. But yeah, you get used to it pretty quick and you definitely start to feel good after it too. But
I can imagine. So is it
Yeah.
just water for that whole time, or you?
yeah, just water, black coffee. So
Okay.
you can lean on that pretty good. That's
I've heard
a
some
good
do
way to
that.
act
They'll
it.
just like, I'll do that, or just like straight warm lemon water or something like
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
it's some form. Maybe electrolytes sometimes.
Yeah, so like all the other wellness stuff, like I got into meditating for a little bit there. Don't do that as often, just because you can't do everything, and I don't.
It would be
you
cool.
gotta-
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do everything.
Did you find success with it, or like did you gather anything from your time really diving into it?
I liked it for just slowing down. I feel like I'm very type A. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm go, 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 and I'm like always planning the next thing, and I'm checking things off lists. I make lists all day for everything, and so meditating, just the act of taking 20 minutes to just sit down and try and clear your mind was still pretty beneficial for me.
Definitely. Did you ever experience like a body high at all? No?
Nah, never got there.
Gotcha.
But what else I get into? Got into like the red light therapy. So I got a red light panel. Do that. And then once I got here, I got the sauna, I got the cold plunge. So
what's the panel do? Like, what do you do? Like,
just sit in front of it. Yeah,
oh,
it's
for
like
real?
20 minutes. Yeah, so like
sit there and bake.
Sit there and bathe. Yeah, so
Light
usually
me up.
that's when I'll kind of, if I remember, throw a meditation while I'm sitting in front of that.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
so yeah, I've always been on the pulse of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've followed you and the conversations we've had over the years, health and fitness wise, you seem to be ahead of the curve, at least for the limelight of social media and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like the mouth taping and the grounding. I remember talking to you about that. Like that's starting to come to light. I was like, damn, Crumb's on his shit.
Yeah.
I was like, my man's dove into everything.
I forgot it. I had the grounding mat there for a little bit. Yeah, now I just go in the backyard a lot. Just make sure I do that every day with my bare feet on the backyard. But
that's a daily thing?
That's a daily thing, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's what I'm passionate about. So I'm always staying on top of it with the podcast and the books that I'm reading.
Nice.
I'm always tapped in for sure.
I love that. And I get, as a trainer and like as all the certifications you have, it's CPT and the CSCS, right? Mm-hmm. Nice. Are you planning to get any more?
Nah, probably not. Like going back to what you said, like I don't think they're really necessary, man.
Do you need it?
Yeah, I don't think you really need anything more than that.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, you seem to build a pretty deep sense or deep knowledge base, I would say. All culminating into now, everything that you've learned, the certifications that you gathered, the constant learning and the journey that you're on.
Yeah.
And with this big move coming up, how you're like kind of taking a step back, what would you say your goal is long term? Because you already said like you've built that lifestyle. You're always going to do this. And I think and hope that's what a lot of people can take from this is like you can do it on your own. You don't got to be a personal trainer. You don't have to do these things. But it is like a lifestyle change to have that long term stability and consistency. But like where do you see it all kind of going?
Well, yeah, my goal, it's funny, you played with Brent Hyken, right? Yeah, so I was training him, it was a while ago, but I was training him because he was getting ready to do a tryout for the PLL. So I was training him, getting ready for that, and he was like, man, I need to get back to the shape that I was my sophomore year or something. And then he was like, what year would you say you were in the best shape of your life? And I was like, right now, 100% right now. And I didn't hesitate. And him just asked me that question and kind of like cleared that goal in my mind. I was like, wow, like that's my goal. Like I want that to be my answer anytime I'm asked that. So like I want to be able to say right now when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, I always want to be able to say right now, 100%, I'm in the best shape of my life right now.
I like that.
Like,
we're going to adapt that to the lifestyle for a bit. Because I think that is the journey. Like, I've fallen into a place where it's like, I'm going to do this in some fashion. Like, the equipment may change, and I do want to continue to learn and try to dabble in more things. Because I never tried Pilates, and I definitely want to give that a go. For all I know, I love it.
That'll humble you.
I bet it will.
Humble you.
Isn't that the one with, like, the wild machine and stuff like that? Or is it
That's a separate type. I think there's a name for that. That's a reformer.
Okay.
Reformer Pilates. But I've just been using this app. My wife's got it. It's just like floor Pilates. So it's just like no body, just body weight stuff. And I'd never done it until a couple months ago. We were in Ireland, and I like don't have no interest in going to a gym when I'm traveling. So I was like, all right. We like woke up in the morning, like, all right, I'll do this Pilates with you. And like, dude, like 2 minutes into this video, I was like, I stopped, paused it. Like I couldn't do it, man. Like everything was on fire, and like
that's crazy.
And that's even after like my deep dive of like all the floor work and stuff. So like that's why I think it's important to just do everything, try everything, and because it's and everything has got its own benefits. So
nice. What about professionally? The Crumb name, like where do you want to hold the space in the fitness industry? Do you want to eventually get back to training people? Do you see it going towards
I definitely
more
see that.
Independently owning a location, virtually? Like perfect world, you have your dream fitness job tomorrow. What is it?
Oh man, dream fitness job tomorrow. I don't know if I
You can incorporate the journey. It doesn't have to be the end all be all, but like what would be that ideal
I mean,
next step professionally in fitness?
Yeah, I mean, it always ebbs and flows for me. I appreciate the time away from it. You know, a lot of times I do get burned out training people, and sometimes it's more just like a sacred space for myself, and I just want to focus on my own training.
Yeah.
So I like dipping in and dipping out. I'm always gonna be posting stuff on Coach Crumb because I think that's important to kind of put that message out there and show people. Like, that's my biggest mission with my Coach Crumb now, is just to show people there's a different way to train. I feel like
Lead by example, so to speak.
yeah, and I feel like I was lost for a while there because I only knew that going to the big gym and, you know, doing curls and bench press and squats and that's all I knew, you know. So now I'm trying to spread that message that there's a different way, there's a more accessible way, there's a more pain-free way, because I feel like just like the general public has been fed that one type of working out, right? Just going to that gym and so I'm definitely going to continue to put that message out there on my Instagram and put that out there. But I think I could definitely see myself, like, when I retire from you know, my main job, I could definitely see myself opening up a gym somewhere and training people. But no immediate plans right now. I'm just going to keep doing my thing and putting it out there and just see what happens. I feel like that's been a lot of this whole journey with myself, has just been kind of just saying yes to opportunities as they come up, and not really having like a clear path of where I want to go, but just following it and see where it takes me. I think that's kind of been the kind of like main like throughway of my whole journey up to this point. You know, I think I just would say yes to certain things, not having expectations, and then see where they led. I think that kind of happened with, you remember Brian Davies? You remember him from Stevenson?
I feel like I do,
He may have been gone by the time you got there, but
I remember the name.
Yeah. He texted me one night randomly, like, saying, do you want to coach this Cooper's program? I was like, sure, yeah, why not? And then that led to so many different things. That led to the Jay Dyer connection. That led to all these clients through the team. So like everything just kind of just leads to the next thing. So it's like just gonna stay doing my thing, stay putting posts up there, and see what happens.
No, I love that. Just kind of let it organically grow.
For sure.
And definitely leading by example, because, I mean, I learn a lot from your pages, and even just the conversations again. Like, again, you got me looking into mouth breathing or like mouth taping before it was a fad and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But I also love the balance that you found, because even from day one, you're just like, no, I kind of love my job. Like, my main job is like, it kind of gives you that opportunity to create space between it and prevent a little bit of that burnout, even though you do still experience. And I think, like you said, that's why you're kind of taking a step back now. But I think it's only going to help with your longevity, because, like, I have my time here, and then when I'm not doing that, it seems like you have that great relationship where they respect your distance. Hell, they're letting you move across the country. It's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah. But it's like, hey, I'm in my training time. I got to dedicate time to this, that perfect work-life balance. So, like, just letting it flow seems like the perfect ingredient.
It's nice.
To, like, letting this continue to evolve into what you want it to be.
For sure.
So if you had to give any advice or quick tip for those looking to take that next step in their fitness journey, not so much professionally or just they want to get better health and wellness wise, what would be your starting point?
Man,
or just like smidge of this is what it is.
Yeah, I think that consistency piece is huge. You just got to find something, try everything, find something that you enjoy and stick with that.
Yes.
That's something I always struggle with too, of like clients being like, can you train me? I want to look like you. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for like 20 years. Like, I can't just like throw together a program for you for a year and get you to that point. Like, you just got to keep going forever. Like, you start and you never stop. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of like, like, there's no end to it. Like, you always got to stay with it. Like, that's the number one. I think number two is like what I've come to really resonate with lately is like, see yourself as an athlete. Like, that's how I've always seen myself.
Yeah.
Because we're all athletes, right? We all have bodies. Like, we're all living a life, and you know, you gotta see yourself as an athlete. You don't want to be, you don't want to get to the point where you get old and your body is your limiting factor and you are no longer independent, right? So like, you should always view yourself as an athlete, and in turn, I think you got to kind of see, you got to train accordingly, right? Train for that athletic profile, right? Like I said, like the general public really only knows that one way of training, which is that more or less the strength training, right? Heavy like weightlifting in the gym. But start to see your whole athletic profile, right? Strength is important for sure, but it's only one spoke in that wheel of your athletic profile, right? Like you got balance, you got coordination, you got mobility, you got speed, you got quickness, you got power. So you got to train for all those things. So try to incorporate all that stuff, not just that one strength area, right?
Yeah.
Just try and see yourself as like a well-rounded athlete and try and train for all those things.
I like that, especially having been an athlete.
Yeah.
And like what came to mind as you were explaining that is like train like an athlete, but life is now your sport.
Exactly.
And then instead of being like, oh, I got to be quick at dodging, it's like I got to be able to stand up and like sit properly and not be tired when I bend over and all that other jazz. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's great advice. Like I try to tell the few clients that I do have or anybody that I talk to is like, if you want advice, like the same thing, try everything. Like the biggest thing is finding the modality which you actually enjoy, because that's going to not fix, but help everything else, because it is an everyday thing. Like even your rest day, it's a day that involves like you mentally thinking about that or playing a part into that next lift day or yoga day, whatever it is.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love that idea of your sport is life.
Yeah.
You know, and my neighbors see me out in my backyard a lot doing some crazy shit, and they probably think I'm insane. And I remember one of them was like, "What are you training for? Like, you got like something coming up?" I was like, "No, I'm just training for life."
Well, that.
Guy was like, "You're insane." And I was like, "I think you're insane for not feeling the same way." Like, I feel you like, why not always be ready? And
if you could shout out somebody that's helped you in your journey so far, not even professionally, career, but like who's had an impact on your fitness, health, and wellness, or just like life in general, who would that be? I'm sure there's a list.
Countless people, man.
Yeah.
My grandmother came to mind when you first said that.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if it's for the right reasons. So she
came to mind. I think it's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she shaped kind of how I started to view that and like training for life. So, she passed when I was like 27, and from that whole time period that I knew her, she was always glued to a recliner or to a walker or to a bed in the nursing home for like 27 years. That's like all I knew her as.
Damn.
And when she passed, like I was just like kind of reflecting on her life, and I was like, man, like I don't ever want that to be my last 27 years. Like there's no way I'm gonna have my last 27 years be dependent on someone and not being able to move and do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that really like changed my training philosophy in terms of like my longevity. Just like seeing her like that and knowing that I don't ever want to be like that.
Yeah.
Had a huge impact on my the way that I view that kind of longevity stuff. So
nice.
Shout out to my mom.
Shout out, love that.
But man, so many people in terms of like professional, Jay Dyer for sure. Top athlete Brandon Huggins, Ron Klausner for making that connection back in the day from Cooper's, and man, I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people, but just staying open and learning from everyone, because everyone can teach you something. So
I just like that. I love to show love, like at any opportunity that you can get, but you do pick it up from so many things. I mean, imagine Paige keeps you going. You learn stuff from her, and you guys experiment things together. I don't know if she kicked your butt in that Pilates session or not.
Dude,
but like,
and she was a big catalyst too, and like all that like the health and wellness stuff side of things, because she was around COVID. She was getting deep into the breath work, and she's still a breath work facilitator. So that was kind of a
she's got the women's circle. Like she's been on a journey as well, which I kind of love.
Holotropic breath work, which is a crazy modality. But yeah,
it seems like it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's good stuff.
Have you jumped in like session and started to learn, like pick up more of what she's doing?
Every week, I go to her classes.
Oh, for real? Hell yeah.
Every week, yeah.
Dang.
It's cool.
I did want to ask, and I don't have to include this, but this is more a personal thing. How has cannabis played a role in all of this?
You can keep this in there, dude. Cannabis has been huge. I totally forgot about that whole thing. I got my medical card, I think, in 2018.
Okay.
So that was all another catalyst, and that coincided with that break that I was taking. And thank God I had it, because I was like going crazy not being able to work out for that 8 months. And I think that was huge in that ego dissolve of giving me that different perspective of being like, okay, I need to stop lifting with my ego and stop being an asshole and just like, you know, stay in my lane and like just do what I need to do for my body and not worry about, you know, trying to be the big dude. But and then still to this day, man, those are like some of my favorite sessions. I'll smoke a joint, I'll come out here and I'll put on some music and I'll just like flow on the floor, and like that shit gets me deep into my body, man. Like if I like started like a yoga or a stretch, it feels a million times better. I can like feel that muscle connection so much better when I'm using cannabis.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. I love it.
Heck yeah. I feel like cannabis and fitness just work so well together, and it's finally coming to light.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a match made in heaven. And it's not for everybody. I'll be the first to say that. But of just how much it helps, the same thing is that I medicate probably before every workout. Maybe not every so much now. I've tried to change my consumption, and I'd be curious about yours. But it definitely gets me more in tune and kind of hyper-focused on the workout itself and just feel the movements a little bit more.
For sure. Yeah. Feel it big time. Like, yeah, most of the time I won't do it. I don't usually do it if I'm doing like kettlebells or like something heavier. But I'll do it, and then I'll come out here and I'll just kind of like come out here with no agenda, and I'll just like get on the floor and then just like see where it takes me. Yeah. Because I can just like follow that like ping of just like getting deep into my body and stretching and kind of see where it takes me. So.
I love that point. I'll do that a lot on Sundays. Like it's usually my stretch or rest day. Yep. Where I won't have a plan. Like I have a typical stretching routine that I'll go through before every workout, but 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 25 if I'm like real tight. Mm-hmm. But I hurt my back a while back, like was out of commission for a good week or two.
Yeah, shit sucks.
And yeah, like I thought I was gonna have to get carried out of the gym. Like it was that bad. But
what are you doing?
Just squatting. It was core engagement though. Like the sad thing is like I got up, I think I did 280, 295 that day. But I did pyramid style, and I'm coming back down the pyramid and I end with 135 iso holds. So drop down, hold for 2, come back up. And I'm re-racking on that last set. Literally, I re-rack and I'm done. As soon as I re-rack, I disengage my core and my back popped. Like I'm literally holding myself up by the bar. I'm like hobbling out, and I laid in my bed. Like I couldn't get out of my bed for probably 2-3 hours. Like every move, yeah. So I stretched for like an hour for probably a week and a half, and it finally came back and everything was good. But ever since then, I was like, all right, I need to make a day for this. Yeah. So now Sundays, it's like, I won't even have a plan. I'll run through my random routine. But some days I'll literally just medicate. I'll smoke. Some days heavier than others. But I could just sit there and stretch for like 45 minutes to an hour, and it'll feel like nothing. I was like, time just flew. Yeah, dude. And I'll never feel like, I love that. Yeah. Is smoking like your favorite way to consume, or like do you dive into edibles or anything?
No. I found the edibles kind of just made me tired. Okay. But no, man, smoking is, I love the pre-rolled joints, and dude, yeah, I love, everyone always talks about like, well, not everyone, but like I said, I'm deep in the health and wellness game. So like right now, like mushrooms are like really big, and you know, ketamine and ayahuasca and stuff. But like, I don't need anything other than cannabis. Like I get so many downloads every time I smoke. And yeah, man, like if I'm smoking, I'm doing one of 3 things. I'm either going outside, just getting connected with nature, or I'm coming out here and stretching, or I'm playing the guitar. And like those 3 things are like, the best. Yeah. It's unreal.
I mean, I would like to bring it to light, and I challenge people all the time, but cannabis is an adaptogen. If you've read into those at all, it's just like those natural, a lot of mushrooms. It's like a natural occurred substance that has a deep effect on like stress in certain situations in the body, but can bring you back to homeostasis or increase balance in the body.
No doubt.
And there's this one great doctor, then I can send you a video, like she does all these speeches. She's an endocannabinologist, which I didn't know was a thing.
Endocannabinologist.
Yeah, so she studies the endocannabinoid system and stuff, but she was like the first medical professional that I would hear say that, because I always made the connection, like when I started looking to ashwagandha and reishi and all this other stuff, I stumbled the word adaptogens, and I was like, oh, look, these are all great things. Like, wait, this is weed. Like, weed does this naturally occurring. You smoke it, you feel better. Yeah. And that's what I kind of hope that people keep to explore in the fitness industry when you can start to study the plant a little bit more. Yeah. And this is the stuff I nerd out about. Like, I can read about weed all fucking day. Yeah. It's like, and then finding that in fitness, it's like a beautiful thing to me. But I think it's going to change like the fitness, the recovery game. Like I use topicals and transdermals almost every day for recovery. Like if my knee hurts or my back, I'll throw one of those babies on there, and it's I equate it to like a Tiger Balm sometimes, where like you can feel that.
CBD, just CBD,
Both.
or THC?
If you can get a 1-to-1, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Like I use it. My ACL knee is getting freaking rough these days for whatever reason. But every day I'll just like rub it right on that meniscus spot, or I'll do it before bed, and it's, I mean, night and day.
Really?
Yeah, because the 1-to-1's key, because THC is going to hit you for the pain, and then that CBD is like phenomenal for inflammation. So I call it a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
But I think things like that, and as we get to understand cannabinoids a little bit more, it's going to really affect recovery. Like you can see the sports league starting to lean off of it. I think the NFL, I don't know if they stopped testing or like they're the last one that does.
That's crazy.
But it's getting there.
It's crazy that those guys can't smoke, man.
Oh, it's nuts. I mean, you know they do.
Yeah, but like the fact that like they're not allowed to is insane. Like those dudes are running at each other and hitting each other every single play, like a freaking car crash. Yeah,
I mean CTE, and that's a lot of the things that are coming to light of like Eugene Monroe. He's a former Raven. He's one of the co-founders of one of the biggest cannabis MSOs in the country. He's a big advocate for that. Like Ricky Williams, former Heisman winner.
He was the OG.
Yeah, and he straight up just like left the weed. He's like, I'm gonna go smoke weed, bro. Like this is what I'm doing.
He was the OG.
Now he's got his brand Heisman. Like I'm hoping that comes to Maryland and things like that. But just these advocates and people constantly leaving. Al Harrington, Iverson's got his own strain and things like that. Like it'll take a minute, and everybody knows they're behind the curve.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm a huge proponent.
Hell yeah,
it's the shit. I gotta try. I like try and keep my consumption to a reasonable level. I try to do like 2 to 3 times a week is where I try to keep it at.
There you go.
Because, how is it on sleep? Does it like affect your sleep negatively at all? Have you done a lot of research on that?
It can't. From what I've read, it doesn't, or it prevents you from getting into like that deep. Was it REM or like the deepest stage of sleep? And I think that's what people hypothesize of like why you don't dream when you consume THC, and I think it's specifically tied to THC. So if you do, I mean, I'd hypothesize if you do like a 1-to-1 that negates that inebriating effect, maybe it'd be a little bit healthier. I think so, just because you're again getting that 1-2 punch. But I would like to find different routes because I do it before bed for sure. Even if I don't consume during the day, I got an indica pen sitting right next to on my nightstand. I was like, this will do the trick. And I was like, I'll see you in 7 hours.
Yeah, I use it. So I do that because I've seen the studies about how CBD kind of lessens that effect. So usually whenever I smoke a joint, right before I'll take a few CBD capsules and some ginkgo biloba as well to kind of like help with like the cognitive stuff. So it does just to kind of offset those kind of negative stuff that can come with it, I guess.
Do you find a good balance, or that it's changed from when you do consume like just THC as opposed to not the CBD and everything?
If I take the CBD before I smoke, which I try to do, when I do that, I don't, because I like to smoke usually in like the afternoon. If I don't take the CBD, I'm like super drowsy by the time night comes. And I'm kind of just like, I need to go to sleep. Like I'm just like really, really tired. But there's less of that if I take the CBD with it and pair it with the CBD. It kind of helps kind of not fall into that. Just like
for sure, yeah, they balance each other out. One of my favorite things to do, and someone put me onto that the first dispensary I worked at, is because at that point I was just like smoking to get stoned, didn't know too much, but they was like, hey, take a CBD dominant flower and like mix it in with like a THC dominant one. And I was like, but I love to take like a real heavy indica, sprinkle a bit of CBD dominant flower. It's one of the best balances I've ever had. One of the best highs. Like it's not too wonky, you're not too
like takes
heavy.
The edge off of things
100%.
A little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I definitely try to encourage people, like if they come into the store the same way, it's like, hey, don't sleep on CBD, or like try these other cannabinoids. It's not all about just getting zonked out.
Right.
Especially the older you get.
It's a time and a place. Sometimes you want to get the zonk going.
Yeah. And that's where I'm trying to balance myself out. I definitely,
for sure. That's where I got to balance too. If it was up to if I like there was no other like side effects or nothing else I had to do, like I'd be zonking all the time.
Yeah,
like,
and I think I'm
gotta keep it in check a little bit.
I have the benefit of like my schedule and my profession. Like it does give me like the space and freedom and my experience with it. Like I know when and how to medicate and stuff like that, and I can break down a profile to the point where I know what this is going to do to me. But it's definitely a gamble sometimes where you're just like, shit, this is new.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be this high right now. And like,
that's why I lean on those 3 things. Like if it's like a chill night, I'm just gonna watch a movie. Like I'm not smoking. But if I have like free time and if I can play my guitar, or I can get outside and go on a hike, or I can come out here,
That's
then
huge.
I'll be smoking.
Yeah, that balance is key.
Because I found that too. Because like I was going through the same thing where I was like smoking really often, and it kind of wasn't aligning with how I kind of wanted to use it. So that's kind of how I whittled it down. If I'm going to do one of those three things, I'll smoke beforehand. But
that's good. It seems like you found that balance because I'm still experimenting with it. So I'm still working towards that balance, but there's definitely days where I'm just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have smoked as much as I did. Or that edible is a little stronger, hit me a little quicker than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I got to mature there, but like finding that balance is definitely key.
No doubt.
But I'm definitely here for the journey of like new cannabinoids and everything like that.
Hell yeah. Keep spreading the word.
Trying to, man. I'm just like glad to hear that other people medicate on it and like saying like, hey, I do it before a flow session and stuff like that. And like, the fact that I can feel every fiber and this, that, and this, like that's what I'm talking about right there.
I've thought about putting that up on Coach Crumb, but I've never really gotten around to it. But I'm sure I will at some point because that is a huge part of it, and I really do love doing sessions and smoking.
Heck yeah. I've been thinking like brainstorming ideas as well. Like I've already collabed with a couple of pages. Like I have a cannabis page and I have a fitness, and I've done a few little reels of just like working out and spitting like a cannabis fact or something like that, which I definitely want to do more. But despite being in the industry, I still have like that, oh, people are going to think you're a pothead. Or, like, they're going to put you in this stigma. And like, ultimately, it's just like, fuck them. Like, I'm doing my own thing. Like, whatever. Sure. It's your space and your vibe, whatever you're feeling.
It's a shame that stigma even exists, really.
It is. But like, I enjoy playing a part of like breaking it. And that's what I feel like with my videos and being willing and vulnerable to be that guy. Just like, look, I use this. Like, it's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah. Just reimagining what a stoner looks like.
100%.
Getting rid of that old paradigm. Yeah.
The way I always say, it's not all basements and beanbags or beanbags and bong rips and everything. Like, it's a little bit more than that. They're high functioning people, and
it always gets me when it's like the person who's like drinking is like, you should be smoke is bad, but you should be doing that. And you're like, what, dude? Like,
and I still drink, but like I've definitely focused more on leaning off of that because the college days, I don't even want to think of the damage I've done.
Dude,
in my time.
I can have like maybe a beer, man. I'll feel like absolute shit afterwards. I can't do it anymore.
Dude, yeah. Like, Kyle got me on the tequila, fortunately, unfortunately, but like I can't drink beer. Like,
no,
as soon as I have a beer, my gut is just like,
yo,
what are you doing? Like,
it's horrible.
Yeah, not only like the bloating, but it's just like, no, I think it's just years of Bud Light and Natty Light, just like shit beer. You're just,
no doubt.
No way can I do this.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Any other crazy things that you incorporate outside of like cannabis or anything, or like the new wave or other like? I know you're never big on like supplements or like protein or anything like that.
No, I've gotten away from the supplements. I brought back whey protein. Been doing that. I mean, I used to be big into the supplements, but I've definitely got off of that. I think it's like, supplements is a slippery slope for sure.
I feel like it is, yeah.
But anything other crazy now? Just fasting. The occasional cannabis.
There you go.
Nah, nothing too crazy. The breath work stuff that my wife does, that's really, really great.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I gotta dive more into that.
It's cool, man.
I mean, it seems key to everything. Like, I constantly say, whether I'm at work or anybody that ever asks, I'm like, breathing. That's like the key to it all. Core work and like understanding, finding your rhythm in the breathing of what you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's huge. I could be way off because she's an expert in everything, but
it's
I feel like understanding it more is only going to help.
Yeah, that's kind of like my weekly meditation at this point. Really, it's like that session.
Heck yeah.
But I remember it was maybe like the first handful of times that I ever did it. It was like a 2-hour session, so it was a long one, and I didn't know it was going to have any effect. But I went into it, and I was like, it was on the second day. I was doing a 3-day fast, so it was on the second day. So I went into it like 48 hours fasted, and dude, I've never been higher in my life. Like it was like a you would have thought I'd smoked some type of mushroom and cannabis mixture. Like I was like, it was insane, man. And it was just from breathing.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
That's why I asked about the meditation, because I hear people, like I find this peace, I get this body high. And I've experienced it once when trying to meditate. And I called it meditating, but it was because of the breath work, is that I was time breathing. And like where I've always heard, or like the ones that resonated with me, is to block everything out, is to just focus on that one aspect. Like simply fall into that number
Yeah.
4 seconds in, 4 second hold, 4 second, like 4-4-4 or the square or whatever. I don't know if there's a name for it. But that's where it was, where I started to just find that flow of the breath work, and that's all I was concentrating on. And I could feel, like, it felt like a wave just like coming in as I was breathing in, and then as I would come down, it would fall through my body.
Yeah.
And then with the exhale, and that was like a high feeling where I was just like, from someone that smokes a lot, I was like, bro, I was stoned for a good like 10 minutes. And then as soon as I broke that breathing and I got up and my blood started flowing from walking and everything, it faded out. But I was like, oh, I was stoned for sure. And it was a trip. And I was like, I'd love to be able to find that again, like naturally. It's just like I didn't pursue it or like continue to do it.
Yeah, that's how Paige sells it. It's like meditation is like the way it's sold is like, you shut your eyes and you kind of just sit there and just wait and just kind of like try and not think. But like most people can't not think, right? Like it's
almost impossible. Yeah.
Right? So that's how she sells it. Is like you're giving your body something to focus on by just doing the breath, and that will, as you fall into that, will clear your mind and do what you're looking to get done. Yeah.
That's how it works for me.
Yeah. But the way she does it, it's all through the mouth. So you're like you're purposely breathing through the mouth, which is kind of like your body is like kind of emergency system.
Okay.
So you're starting to like kind of like heighten everything, and like when you first start, it's like hard. Like your body's like, "Yo, stop! What are you doing? This sucks. Like stop doing this." And then you get into a pattern, and then stuff starts getting
starts to take
freaky.
over.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I gotta explore that a little bit more.
Yeah, she'll definitely run you through a session.
What's like your mental approach to stuff?
I think that's the reason why I do the cold plunges. There's like so many benefits from what's going on with your hormones and stuff like that. But I do it because it's that resilience and that strengthening of your mind. And then I've started doing like long distance running too. So I've been doing like some 20-mile runs.
Damn.
And so that's like. And I don't do that for like the physical part. I do it for that mental aspect, because like the whole time through, your mind's like, dude, stop. This sucks. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay.
So that's kind of how I like train the mental aspect of it. It's probably through the cold plunging and through those long runs.
Those challenges, like embrace the suck, essentially.
Yeah, just sit in that discomfort.
Okay.
And I've found that like training that way, it's like it helps with everything. Like it helps with like people are like, why would you cold plunge? Like. But it's not just like getting you better at dealing with cold. It's getting you better at dealing with any type of discomfort. So like you're having a hard conversation with your spouse, you're having a hard conversation with the people that you work with, like, or you're giving a presentation that you're not like, you're kind of nervous about, like that kind of discomfort. Like you're training your nervous system to deal with any type of discomfort. So like that's how I train my mental aspect of it.
Like, I love that. Like I always say it at the gym, like if this is hard, like it's fucking supposed to be. Like that's how you get better. That's where you know growth is happening.
Exactly.
And I got like a cheesy slogan on my fitness website page. It's like, there's no growth without change, and there's no change without challenge.
Yeah.
Is that?
I like that.
I said it to Craig a long time ago, just like sitting in my thoughts, probably stoned. It was like, I don't know. I haven't found anything in existence or like that has life, an organism that doesn't physically break in order to grow.
Yeah.
Like your muscle fibers tear, you have a seed, it cracks open, you branch out all these things. A tree starts as a twig and it breaks off into all these things. And that's where I talk to people. I'm just like, embrace the suck. Like if you feel like you're going to break or if you feel broken, good. You're at a rebuilding point. You need to physically break yourself, whether it's mentally or add a fiber in order to get to that next stage. So challenge yourself, accept that stuff that you suck at. Be willing to fail or attempt to do a cold plunge for 3 minutes and last 30 seconds and then get the fuck out and then try it again.
Yeah, man. I love that. I always say that too. No growth without discomfort.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what, comfort kills, all that same shit, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
the
new
why
ways.
you got to get out of the comfort zone,
I feel so cliche with like making up, like it all feels cliche at times. Like the way I kind of describe life, like it's all simply complicated. Like the answers are there, like people are just finding new ways to say the same shit.
Yeah.
But if you think down to it, like it's just all these little sayings. It's like, there ain't no way to do it but to do it. If you want to get something done, just fucking try it. And
for sure.
My approach with this is like, I've never recorded this before. For all I know, it's not recording right now, and I'm going to be pissed after this, but I definitely enjoyed this conversation.
Hell yeah.
But another thing that got me a while back, because I have all these ideas and I want to work for myself eventually, yada, yada, yada. And like, you can't wait until you're good at something to do something.
That's right.
Is that you had this idea of like, I want to accomplish this. It's like, I can think about that and I know exactly what I want it to look like. But there's so many fucking steps between that, and you can't wait until you have what that picture looks like to really get going. Sometimes you just got to whip your phone out buy a cheesy mic on Amazon. It's like, yo, will you talk to me for like 30 minutes?
Yeah, man.
And just
You
like
gotta
see
go.
where this shit kind of goes. And
Yeah, you can't wait around and yeah.
100%.
I feel like that's I'm learning that through the guitar. I feel like that I want to do some open mic nights, and that's like one of the things that's like the scariest shit for me ever.
Fuck
And
yeah.
that's why I'm like starting to like put stuff on Instagram to kind of try and put it out there.
Yeah.
But it fucking terrifies me, man. But like, I want to do it. So like, yeah, like I want it to be perfect, but at the same time, like you can't wait for that to be perfect. You just gotta fucking do it. So.
No, you might miss a chord or like your voice
Right.
might squeak or
Exactly.
something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like, was there fear when you started the Crumb page? Because I know there was for me. It's like, I don't want to be that guy that's like fucking posting workouts or like making cheesy reels. But then deep down, I was like, I do want to be that guy. It's like, I genuinely enjoy doing these things. And if I can, again, lead by example, like, fuck whatever these people are going to think. There's going to be one person that's like, and it's happened nowadays where it's like, yo, that shit was funny. Or like, this got me to think about that, or yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, that's what it's about right there. Like, that's cool.
I think there was maybe some fear when I first started it. And every now and then, if I put stuff up, there's still that fear of like, who am I to put this out? Like, who am I to do this? Who's going to listen to me? There's always that fear.
Syndrome,
There's always that shit. Everyone deals with that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, you can't fret on what other people are going to say or think.
100%.
Because most of the time, they're not even thinking about the shit you're thinking they're thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's always worse in our own heads. So
Yeah, someone put it. I forget where I was working, but someone put it really well. It's like, it's a story that you create in your head for them or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like everything that you're thinking they're going to think about you, you've completely made up in your head. You have no idea if that's true. It's like
something. Yeah, I kind of know what you're getting at there. It's like,
the story
I'm not
you're
who
creating.
I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I'm who I think you think I am.
Yeah. And as crazy, as wild as that
fucking
sounds,
hilarious.
you're
It's
just
true,
like,
yeah. It's like-
but that's how big of like fuckery it is. It's just like,
and that's what
I'm not
stops
who
people
you
from-
think I think you think I am.
Right,
It's
right.
like some fucking Golo
Exactly.
gym shit out here. It's like, I don't think you think that I am that thought that I once was. It's like, get out of your own head. More importantly, get out of their head, like whatever story you're creating about them, and just kind of like
do whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'll admit, not the cleanest of endings there with the editing, but I ain't no producer, and I thought it was the perfect send-off. Do whatever you want to do. Potentially easier said than done, but if you were picking up what we were putting down, I think you get the perspective. Either way, I want to thank Coach Crumb for taking the time to sit down with me and encourage all to give him a follow as he continues to test out new theories and train for the game of life. You can check him out on Instagram at coach_crumb, which I've put in the bio below. As always, I appreciate all those that listened and or watched, and I hope that everyone can enjoy the day.